Floyd trying to pull up to even with him, but can't do it that time. There's a fine line to getting that momentum on exit of the corner, and Floyd just...
And with that, here is the lineup for tonight's feature event. On the pole, it's going to be the number 52 car of Billy Northcutt. Outside of him is the number 157 car of Drew Hopkins. Row 2, the 03 Dylan Thomas, and outside of him is the number 822 car of Tyler Jackson. Row 3, last week's feature winner, the 97 of Rocky Badenfield, and outside of him is the number 9 of Jacob Hayes. Row 4, the 05, that is going to be Isaac Salas, and outside of him, the 37 car of Brunson Benning. Row 5, the 100 Chris Hill, and outside of him the 43 car of Grady Urban. Row 6, the 84 Bryce Dickinson, and the 71 of Daniel Stifler. Row number 7, you've got the number 64 Logan Catellis, and the number 26 of Sage Luther. Behind those guys in row number 8, the 87 car of Rusty Bilger, and the number 5 of Dylan Petty. And then behind them from the Last Chance Showdowns, the 18 of J.C. Floyd, the 2 of Ty Dickinson, and in row number 10, the 45 of Kyle Jarrett, the 22 of Joshua Thomas. Row 11, the 27 of Brady Thompson, the 11 of Dustin Fryer, and the final 2 starters, the 55 of Cruz Cadell, and the 7 of Justin Hopkins. 24 cars, 35 times around, $100 to win tonight's Dirt Car Esports Street Stock Series event here at Weedsport Speedway. Keeping an eye on the championship battle. Up at the top of the standings, it is Kyle Jarrett by 113 over Drew Hopkins. But remember, Jarrett has to come out of the Last Chance Showdown. He starts back in 19th, and Hopkins starts from P2. J.C. Floyd, 121 behind Jarrett. He is starting just about right next to him at the tail end of the field. Northcutt, 131 points back. He starts on the pole, so maybe a little bit of moving and shaking here in the points, depending on how this 35-lap affair goes down. Coming to the green flag here at the Weedsport Speedway for race number 8 of the Dirt Car Esports Street Stock Series. Off of turn number 4, Billy Northcutt and Drew Hopkins lead the field down the front straight. A little contact there on the start between Northcutt and Hopkins. They're able to keep going. Now contact between Thomas and Northcutt. They keep going, stacks up the field. I'm not sure how we are staying green, but that is indeed the case. 3 wide in the middle of the pack there. Now 4 wide off the corner. Dickinson, Hill, Battenfield, and several others getting together down the front straightaway. Crazy stuff here to start this one, as they are still 3 wide from about 10th on back. Catellis, Urban, Luther. Now the yellow flag comes out. Honestly, I'm surprised it took that long, but the yellow flag has been displayed, and here we go, off of turn number 4, back underway. We'll see if we can get a couple laps strung together as Drew Hopkins is the race leader. Here comes Tyler Jackson dipping down to the inside to get by Dylan Thomas for the second spot. A little bit of a connection issue potentially for the 03 of Thomas as he runs in the 3rd spot. Behind him, the number 9 machine Jacob Hayes and the 52 of Billy Northcutt go side by side for 4th. And then behind them, it's a couple rows deep, door to door back there, and 3 wide action again around the 10th position. Logan Catellis, J.C. Floyd fighting his way forward, and the 26 of Sage Luther. Up front, race for the top spot. To the inside goes Tyler Jackson, trying to get by Drew Hopkins. He gets him a little shot in the shorts down the front straightaway. Hopkins hangs on to the lead. Good run tonight for that number 9 car of Jacob Hayes, trying to get by for 3rd, but the yellow is out. We got another big pile up off of turn number 2 this time. One of the cars involved looks to be, oh man, actually a lot of cars involved in this one. Flag is back in the air, and up front, Hopkins trying to hold off the challenges of the 822 car, Tyler Jackson. They've swapped lines since that last start there. Jackson now goes top shelf. He's alongside of Hopkins down the front straightaway. Who led the lap? It looks like Jackson took the race lead. Jackson had it by, let's just take a look here, 2 1/1000ths of a second at the front of the field. Now Hopkins trying to fight back to the inside. As they work off of turn number 4, give the advantage for a moment to Drew Hopkins, but that topside momentum is going to prove to be where you want to be at. The caution is out at the perfect time for Tyler Jackson. I believe he does have the lead as Dustin Fryer along with several others here. Oh man, a big wreck off the corner, and Kyle Jarrett is one of them. So Kyle Jarrett is a piece of this one, your points leader, and we'll see how bad the damage potentially is here. Kyle Jarrett, as it looks like a couple cars in front. Jarrett was slowly making his way towards the front here before that incident took place, and he's done. Jarrett went back to the pit area after J.C. Floyd, Bolt, or who's that? That is the 20, or Isaac Salas in the 05, along with Stifler and a couple of others, and Kyle Jarrett is now back on the racetrack, but he's at the tail end of the field. I believe he went into the pit area. And so Jarrett's got his work cut out for him. He was right outside of the top 10 at the start of that accident. After starting in the 19th position, he was in 11th when that happened, and now he's all the way at the tail of the field. So not good, but luckily for him, it's been a wreck fest so far. Only 9 laps are down. A lot to go here in this one. And here we go, back to green. 10 laps are in, and this one is taking its fair. We're at 12 minutes on the time limit here. We got 10 laps down, so hopefully we can get some green flag laps put together here as Jackson shows the way. Drew Hopkins, he knows probably that there's been some issues for Kyle Jarrett at the tail end of the field, and now Hopkins fighting on the outside, trying to take the lead away from Jackson. Looks like the top's where you want to be at in 3 and 4, but the bottom in 1 and 2. And what do you know? Another caution has come out here as they have wrecked off a turn number 4. I'm going to try and figure out who it was for you. Actually, the crash was in turn number 2. I cannot find who the culprit was here this week. All I know is the yellow flag is definitely back out once again. All right, let's see if we can get more than 2 laps going here. As the green flag waves again, and not a good start at all that time for Drew Hopkins. Did not get through the gearbox very well. As Jackson's going to slide in front of him and take the line away. Dylan Thomas fighting on the inside in the 0-3 machine. Down the back straightaway. Now Jackson goes to the bottom. That leaves the top open for Hopkins. We've seen that be the preferred groove, I feel like. Top side of 3 and 4. Hopkins to try and mount a charge here on the 822 of Jackson, but the yellow flag has come out once again. Dustin Fryer has gotten a piece of this one. I don't think he was the initial cause for that, potentially. I think somebody else, maybe it was him. All I know is the yellow flag is out for at least the 6th time here in 13 laps. All right, for the 7th time, we go green. At least 7. I lost track, honestly, guys, but flag is back out. 14 down, and still a long ways to go. 21 laps to go in this race at Weedsport. Close call for Hopkins, and the yellow, what do you know, it's back out again. Caution, and I'm trying to figure out who it is. 87 car, Rusty Bilger, is the culprit here in this one, it appears. So definitely riding the struggle bus here tonight at Weedsport. Man, oh man, oh man. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Jackson with an incredible start. The restarts have been changed to single file here to try and clean up the racing a little bit. See if that proves to be a good move here or not. I see some cars getting together at the back of the field, but we are able to stay green for now. Off of turn number 4, Jackson will put lap number 16 down. Less than 20 to go here at Weedsport. Hopkins in 2nd, Hayes in 3rd, Thomas and Benning the top 5. It's going to be Northcutt, Floyd, Luther, Cadell, and Catellis. Top 10 here in this one. Racing for 2nd. It's getting a little interesting here. Jacob Hayes trying to get by the 157. The pole sitter of this race, Drew Hopkins. And Jacob Hayes, I don't remember really saying his name too much here over the last couple weeks with the Dirt Car Esports Street Stock Series. He is doing a great job tonight driving that number 9 car. This time by, it's going to be 18 down for Tyler Jackson. Jackson looking for his first win of the year, which is absolutely insane to me. I think we're going to have to double check and make sure that is correct. I think he won a race a few weeks ago, but I could be wrong on that. Not sure if something happened there behind the scenes or not, but the race for 2nd, it looks like it's going to go to the way of the number 9 car of Hayes here if he can get off of turn number 2 pretty well, and he's got the edge over Hopkins to head into turn number 3 in the 37 car. Brunson Benning is trying to follow right through with him. So Hopkins got the anchor out a little bit here. A little contact right there off of turn number 4. Now Benning's going to try and take advantage. Look at the bottom of the tracks where we want to be at here tonight at Weedsport, and Hopkins is hung out to dry on the top. 15 to go. This time by for Tyler Jackson. What a move right there from Benning. Thought he was going to slide in front of Hopkins and close the door, but he could not do it. Benning is in 3rd at the line, though. 03 car will be the next one to take that spot away, but Hopkins able to get in line right there. Good move by Drew Hopkins to get down in line in the preferred groove. But how about J.C. Floyd here tonight? Floyd is up into the 6th position after starting back in 17th. Great run here tonight for J.C. Floyd after that incident in the heat race. He fell to the tail of the field, drove back to 5th, but it wasn't enough to get him into a transfer spot. He is driving through the field, keeping his nose clean, and making his way towards the front. as Jackson shows the way by almost a second and a half over your second place car. The number 9 car of Jacob Hayes, last time by at 18.41 for Jackson, 18.51 for Hayes. So Jackson definitely pulling away just slightly every single lap by about a tenth or two, or about a hundredth or so. Brunson Benning actually faster than your 2 cars ahead of him there in the 3rd position. So Benning, potentially one of the best cars on the track, but it is tough to pass here tonight. Bottom of the racetrack is where you got to be, and it looks like you got to maybe use the old chrome horn to move some guys out of the way. The yellow flag is out, though, as we've got Rocky Battenfield looking the wrong direction off of turn number 4. Battenfield at the time was running in 13th place and gets together with, actually Logan Catellis right in front of him. He hit the infield wall and spun around, collected Battenfield and Daniel Stifler. So the yellow is out. Once again here, we did get quite a good run in there, so good job by the drivers to clean it up. We'll see if we can make it the last 10 laps here at Weedsport. All right, let's see what happens with 10 laps to go. Jacob Hayes is now up to 2nd. He doesn't have that space between himself and Tyler Jackson. And oh my goodness, he's driving in there, gets into the side of Jackson, and Hayes into the infield. Jacob Hayes is through the infield, wide open right now. What is about to happen in turn 3? He drives back onto the racetrack. Oh my goodness, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And he has been disqualified. I don't blame the admins at all. That was some Dukes of Hazzard stuff right there. As Jacob Hayes, now the yellow's out. It looks like Justin Hopkins slowed down the front stretch after a couple of cars in front of him got together. Joshua, I think that's Joshua Thomas right there. And the 100 of Chris Hill got together off of 4. But my goodness, how about that move by Jacob Hayes? He got into the side of Jackson and then could not make the corner, flew through the infield, stayed wide open, and then drove back onto the racetrack in turns 3 and 4, but immediately got disqualified. That is the funniest thing I think I've seen all night long. And that puts Drew Hopkins right back into 2nd place, and Brunson Benning in 3rd, and now J.C. Floyd 17th to 4th for the 18 car. All right, 8 laps to go for Tyler Jackson. Let's see what J.C. Floyd can do. The 18 car has drove from 17th up into P4 on a track that is tough to pass on. But J.C. Floyd, probably the most, proved, I guess, or I don't know, the biggest surprise, I guess you could definitely say, here in this season as they're getting into each other for second. Floyd's going to take advantage of that, goes to the outside of Benning for third as him and Hopkins got together down the front straightaway. Floyd's season opening on the top side of the racetrack. Next time by will be 6 laps to go. Oh, and Benning hit the infield wall. Got up on 2 wheels, kept going, and we somehow stay green. Wow, wow, wow. What a move right there. And now Floyd's not done yet. He'll move by Hopkins down the backstretch for second. A lot of stuff happened right there off of turn number 4. JC Floyd, though, is going to move into P2. And now I honestly would not mind another caution here to see Floyd try and get a shot at Tyler Jackson. With how this race has gone, another yellow is more than likely in the cards here. See the lap times and see what Floyd is doing in comparison to Jackson. Jackson that time an 18.45. Floyd an 18 point. There's the yellow, maybe car way slow right in front of your leader. Chris Hill up against the wall. We stay green for now, but Hill way off the pace. Next time by, 3 to go for Tyler Jackson. Floyd running faster laps, but is running out of time. Top 3 have broken away from the 4th place car up Thomas and him battling with the 37 of Benning. 2 to go next time by for Jackson. Lloyd probably praying for a caution here to try and have a shot at the $100 top prize tonight. Coming around to the white flag next time by for Tyler Jackson. On the front stretch, sees the white flag one more time through turns 1 and 2. Through 3 and off of 4, the 822 car. Tyler Jackson's going to get the win here tonight at Weedsport Speedway. His first of the season. JC Floyd 17th to 2nd. Drew Hopkins 3rd. Brunson Benning and Dylan Thomas will finish up in the 5th position. It was a rough start to the race there, a lot of cautions, but, well, at least they figured it out towards the end and made it an exciting race for everybody watching tonight, whether it's on Dirt Vision, Dirt Car Racing YouTube, Dirt Car Racing on Twitch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We've got 1 week of action left. That is next Wednesday night, a doubleheader at Charlotte and at Williams Grove for a makeup race that was postponed from earlier on in the season. So next week, Williams Grove and the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to wait just a few moments here and see if any of our top 3 drivers show up here in the broadcast booth. I definitely see Drew Hopkins. We're going to talk to him right now. And Drew, you led the race early on, and then towards the end, Tyler Jackson able to put the move on you there. And man, it just seemed like maybe all those yellows made it tough to get in a rhythm here tonight.
Yeah, it did, and I don't run these cars a lot, so I don't know. Tyler, he was fast hitting that bottom. I just couldn't get slowed down enough. I was worried about getting hit from behind, so I'd drive it in a lot harder than I needed to hit that bottom, and I was just sliding up, and he got by me, and then same thing there with JC. They're so good at controlling these cars, and they can just put it anywhere and be fast, and I was just overdriving it a little bit too much.
What was the toughest part about the track here tonight? Obviously, so many yellows makes it, seem like maybe there's something on the racetrack that makes it tough. I know that infield wall can reach out and grab you quickly here.
Oh yeah, for sure. It about got me a few times going into one because I was really trying to slow down, but again, just trying to slow down so much, worrying about somebody hitting you from behind because they were just sitting in the back. Yeah, and just caution fest when we were out front, I just couldn't get in a rhythm and couldn't get out and go. But luckily we held on. Last week we had some unfortunate luck, but this week I think we got a 3rd place, so should put us up there. I think we're still 2nd points, probably still be there, but just overall it's been fun and just glad to come out with a podium finish.
All right, Drew. Well, next week, doubleheader. We'll see you there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And first and foremost, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, CFM Esports, Chris Ferguson for all he does, and Keltner Contracting, and just everybody that supports me.
All right, Drew Hopkins driving 157, finishes up P3 after leading a couple laps. 2nd place tonight from 17th. to second, J.C. Floyd. And J.C., I was just talking to Drew about a lot of yellows, which is probably annoying as a driver, but I know for a fact you were hoping for maybe one more once you got to second because it looked like your car could contend with Tyler Jackson tonight.
Oh, yeah. I think if we definitely had a yellow, it would have been a very exciting ending. I still owe him payback just a little bit, not too bad for Fairbury. So it definitely would have been an exciting ending. I'm just kind of glad I made it up there with only 4 incident points too. On a track like that, it's crazy.
Obviously, track tough to pass here tonight, so I know that incident in the heat race, you were probably really, really worried about making it through the field here tonight. But, man, 17th to second, that might be the biggest move we've seen all season long. Nice job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that whole heat thing, that kind of made me really mad because the guy was pretty much telling me he doesn't like me or something like that in the DMs in the race, and I'm like, so you just ruined someone's race for some reason? So I don't know. Hopefully the admins kind of see that he's kind of been a wrecking ball all year. So.
Well, JC, next week we've got a doubleheader at Charlotte and at Williams Grove. Should be a fun way to end off this Dirt Car Esports Street Stock Series season. We hope to see you back.
All right, sounds good. See you guys next week.
All right, JC Floyd, P2, driving car number 18, good enough for a $75 payday. Now, your race winner, Tyler Jackson, we're waiting to see if we can get a word with him. I'm not sure if he is available or not. Usually he does come up here and talk to us, driving that 822 car. I know he'd probably like to talk to us. His first win of the year, worth a nice $100. The two-time series champion, but right now does not look like we will get to talk to him. So I think we might cut it off there unless I see him jump into the booth here in just a moment. But for that, yeah. I think we're going to have to call it there. Tyler Jackson not in the spot where we need him to be at to put him into our broadcast booth. So that's all we're going to do tonight here at Weedsport Speedway. Tyler Jackson, J.C. Floyd, Drew Hopkins, top 3. Next week, 2 races, Charlotte and Williams Grove. It'll be me alongside, hopefully, Dylan Coyle. We'll have to wait and see if he can make it back or not. If not, should be Mike Warren. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the show here this evening. And we'll be back next week to crown a champion with the Dirt Car Esports Street Stock Series. See you then.
This has been a presentation of Dirt Vision, a World Racing Group property. To get information about upcoming broadcasts, visit us on social media or at dirtvision.com.
Dirt Vision is home to all the greatest shows on dirt. World of Outlaws sprints, late models, and Super Dirt Car Series. You also get Dirt Car Summer Nationals and weekly shows from America's top tracks. Dirt Vision has the best all-around live coverage with flexible options for casual and hardcore fans. No commitments, cancel anytime, apps for most devices. Get your Fast Pass now at dirtvision.com.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
You wanted the best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws! World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
The greatest shows on dirt have the best fan gear in motorsports. Show your support for World of Outlaws sprints and late models. Go to worldofoutlaws.com and make your way to the Buy Now section in the upper right corner. You'll find hats, shirts, hoodies, and other great souvenirs for all fans. Spend $50 or more to get free shipping. Shop anytime at worldofoutlaws.com.
World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series powered by iRacing. We are at Weedsport Speedway for the second to last round of the season. Tim Terry, Chase Rodman here to call all the action for you. And Chase, we have a championship battle brewing with only 2 races to go.
2 races left to run, and just 2 points separate the top 2 in the standings. Alex Bergeron, 3-time series champion, comes in with a 2-point advantage over Timothy Smith in his sophomore season with the series. Tyler Schell not too far out of this one as well, back in 3rd. James Eden's 4th in points, and then Kendall Tucker in 5th. But the top 2, really the guys to focus on here tonight with Bergeron and Smith. This one has come down to the end. 2 wins for Bergeron this year, 1 for Smith. But they've both been very good, very consistent all year long as you take a look at the rest of the point standings right there.
And take a look at the red relegation line. It's 39 points between Aiden Beerline and Blake Majulis. Logan Rumsey, kind of a story as well, if he has a couple of good Grand Slam nights to close off this season. Tyler Ducharme pretty much has to have a decent night to lock himself into this series for next year. So keep your eye on Blake Majulis, home racetrack for him. Aiden Beerline has been consistent, even though had a stumble last week that kind of put him back to 15th. But keep your eye on that, because that may be a big story tonight if somebody can get a little bit closer to clinching. Alex Bergeron and Timothy Smith obviously at the top of the board. Tyler Schell sitting in 3rd in the championship standings. So lots to follow here this evening, Chase, as this is the second to last round. We'll finish off next week at the dirt track at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then that'll be the championship for this 2022-23 season. We talked about points. Points are close. The schedule is coming down to the end, and this place is a unique venue to come to with only 2 races to go.
Yeah, this place, we talked about a little bit last week, kind of like the Daytona of sprint car racing here, with just the last race before the final one here. You take a look at the Weedsport Speedway, located in Weedsport, New York. More, normally a big block modified track, but the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series in real life does come here on 2 occasions, along with the All-Star Circuit of Champions Sprint Car Series. But you take a look at it here, 3/8 mile oval, both ends. It's kind of tough to tell from this angle here. Both ends of the racetrack completely different. You run them completely different from the other side. Backstretch is kind of a swooping, you're like turning the entire time down the back straightaway, and this place, it gets really slick when it comes to feature time. And like I said, this is, normally known as a big block modified track, but the sprint cars do put on one heck of a show here.
And we are getting ready to see one heck of a show as qualifying has just concluded, and one of those drivers that needs a Hail Mary tonight to try to lock himself into the series next year, Chase, on the pole for this one.
Yep, Logan Rumsey, the driver out of Manchester, Pennsylvania for Slick Sim Sport in car number 41, will be on the pole. He was quick time here tonight in qualifying. Outside of him is the driver of car number 22. That's Bryce Lucius out of Findlay, Ohio for Elite Performance Industries. Row number 2 on the inside, car number 33, that is driven by Evan C., the driver out of Chesty, South Carolina for CFM Esports. And outside of him is the number 5 car. That's Braden Eiler out of Franklin, Pennsylvania for Elbows Up Sim Sport. Row 3, the number 50 machine out of Cessnock, New South Wales, Australia, Clayton Davies for Synergy Sim Racing. And outside of him, it's his fellow Aussie, the number 42 car, Paul Bryan from Man Up Sim Racing. He's out of Little Mountain, Queensland, Australia. Row 4 looks to be the number 20 car, and that's Aiden Forster out of Cass City, Michigan from Momentum Sim Sport. And outside of him is the number 1, Mason Hannigan. He is out of Pittsburgh, Indiana for Black Diamond Motorsports. So 8 cars will start here in heat race number 1. They'll go 10 laps, and just the top 4 finishers will lock in to tonight's 35-lap feature. The rest of them will have to go to one of 2 last chance showdowns.
And you look at the wall, these drivers getting ready to go racing here this evening. You see Timothy Smith up there in the red. He is looking for a good night. Alex Bergeron actually 2 over from him on that top row. So there's a couple of drivers as they continue to log in and check into the wall, as we'll see these drivers throughout the evening. And we talked about this championship. This is the first of 4 heat races tonight. They do get championship points in these heat races, 8 points to win, 1 point on back per position. Take the top 4, move them into the 35-lap feature later on. 2 last chance showdowns, 12 laps apiece. Top 2 will advance, and keep in mind no cautions in these heats and last chance showdowns, and only green flag laps will count in the feature event later on this evening. Footnote, we mentioned Logan Rumsey qualified well. Chase obviously on the pole. We also mentioned Blake Majulis did not put in a lap. He'll start dead last in his heat race later on this evening.
A lot to watch for as far as that relegation line goes. As you take a look at the weather conditions here in Weedsport, New York, 65 degrees in sim, 3-mile-per-hour winds, 68 degrees is the track temperature. There's a good look at the number 50 car of Clayton Davies. Outside of him is fellow Aussie, the 42 car of Paul Bryan. But another thing to watch for in the next heat race is where things get really interesting with Timothy Smith and Alex Bergeron actually starting side by side in row 3. We'll talk about that more later, but that's just something to look forward to in the next heat race. Your championship contenders, both starting outside of a transfer spot. That should be interesting to watch for in the next one. But like you said, Rumsey, definitely a great shot here to try and put himself, catapult himself into that relegation, conversation coming into Charlotte next week. And Rumsey puts in a good lap here tonight, and we are rolling down the front straightaway here for heat race number 1.
You win everything, you win your heat, you win your feature to 78 points, and you can follow along with the standings, the schedule, the drivers in the series, how the points are structured by heading to iRacing.com/WOOSC as you see the field in behind the pace truck. Logan Rumsey does have some work to do. The relegation is not over for him, but he does need a couple of good weeks and maybe Aiden Beerline to maybe have a stumble or two, but at this point, Chase, I think if you're Logan Rumsey and if you're Blake Majulis, you really have to control your own destiny right now and do what you have to do to make up as many points as you can.
And Beerline did turn in a good qualifying lap. He starts outside the front row of heat race number 3. So things are going well for him here tonight, and not exactly what you want to see if you are Logan.
Racing isn't easy. but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now. Modified DLC pack also features the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 and will be available for digital purchase on the PlayStation and Xbox stores this month.
Canada. Row 4, the number 9 car, that's Tanner Miller. Miller is out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for Scott Thomason Racing. And your final starter is the number 18 machine. That is Austin Selland for Tony Stewart Racing out of Brookfield, Wisconsin. So obviously the ones to watch for in this one, Tim, they come from row number 3. Smith and Bergeron both with not so great qualifying effort tonight. They both need to get by at least one and then 2 cars for Bergeron to be in tonight's show. And if they do that, they're still going to be starting towards the tail of the field.
And we saw in that first heat race that Logan Rumsey pretty much dominated the first half of that one, then kind of got bounced around in the last couple of laps to see the 22 of Lucius come through and take away the heat win. That's a pretty big statement as well, because he'll start provisional pole tonight in our feature event. So we'll see who starts on the outside of row number 1 in our 35 lap feature, and keep your eye, as Chase mentioned, row number 3 with Smith and Bergeron. Green flag flies. We're underway in heat race number 2. Quickly getting out to the lead on the outside is Cardwell, and then the battle in behind him.
Bergeron for the 5th spot. On the outside, he's still 1 spot out of the transfer spot. 1 car on the bottom, that's the Jaeger. Wow, Bergeron trying to go to the inside of Tanner Pettit. Pettit shut the door, a little contact up the road, and there goes Smith by Bergeron down the front straight. Bergeron loses 2 spots.
Alex Bergeron is going to be up on the wheel in this one, trying to get back to where he was. This battle on your screen is battle for position number 2. There is Bergeron. There is the work that he has to do right now. He's got to get by Miller, and then he's got to get up to Timothy Smith, and Smith is working on Pettit. Pettit working on Brown. Brown working on Dylan Yeager. This one is anybody's race, except for maybe Hayden Cardwell, because he's out in front and away from this thing.
Cardwell with a 1-second advantage last time by. Now here comes Smith to the outside of Pettit, who dives it off the corner. There are so many different ways to run the corner in 1 and 2 here at Weedsport. You can run it 8 different ways in this heat race, and it would all be different. It's absolutely insane what these guys can do around this racetrack. Yeager solidly in 2nd. The race for 3rd, however, is still up for grabs. And there goes Pettit to the wall in turn 4. Smith now in the back pocket down the front straightaway.
You got the mistake from Pettit. Smith, how do you get by now? How do you get to the inside to make this move on Pettit? Take it away. As Tanner Pettit still up on the wheel and trying to keep the 86 in behind. Bergeron has got back to position number 6, but he has some work to do. You don't want to be stuck in the last chance showdown.
And how about that? The top 2 in the championship could potentially be in a last chance showdown here tonight at Weedsport. Maybe a huge opportunity for Tyler Schell, who's 3rd in points here tonight, as Pettit hits the wall again down the back straightaway. Smith all over him as they come to the white flag, this time by Bergeron's there as well.
Pettit's trying to give it away to these guys in behind him. Up in front, Hayden Cardwell has this thing in hand. The battle's going to be to transfer at the end. Bergeron goes to the inside on Smith to pick one up, looking for 2. Oh. What a move by Bergeron. Can Pettit get back there? No, he can. Checkered flag. Alex Bergeron, Hail Mary at the end of it. He is going to take 4th.
Wow. And that is going to send Timothy Smith to row 2 of a last chance showdown. Bergeron, like you said, with the Hail Mary, he will start deep in the field. But wow, that was exciting.
There's your results. Cardwell, Yeager, Brown, and Bergeron somehow takes away 4th. Pettit 1 on the outside looking in. Timothy Smith. There's the name that's going to have to dig in the last chance showdowns. Tanner Miller and Austin Semmelman, your field in heat race number 2. And I think we're going to take a look at what happened here momentarily. But Alex Bergeron went from 7th place at one point in that heat to being in, and here it is.
Yeah, going down the front stretch here. This is on the white flag lap. Smith actually hit the infield wall right there, Tim, on the entrance of turn number 1. Bergeron able to fly by him, and then this move gets the right rear into the left front of Pettit. Smith not able to get to the inside and get by for 5th. That would have been a big spot. If Smith could pass him there, he would have been on the front row of the last chance showdown, but now he will start row number 2. And so we've got some serious stuff to look forward to, including heat race number 3, which is coming up here in just a few minutes.
So take a look at what we are racing for here this season. Obviously, you got the top 10 payout in the points, and we've talked about this already this season. 10,000 to win all the way back to 200. Per race prizes, 300, 200, 100. Podium's going to pocket a little bit of cash. But there's also a little bit more on the line chase for the overall champion.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned the $10,000 top prize, but you get a trip to Volusia Speedway Park in Barberville, Florida for the Dirt Car Nationals. I want to say on February 6th is the first day of that. The sprint cars run on February 9th with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. And recognition on the stage. You'll be able to talk to myself over there as the champion on the stage, and that's going to be cool to meet these guys in person. Honorary flagman for the feature race. I'm guessing that is on the Saturday finale, and then ride around in the pace car and VIP pit passes for the event there at the Dirt Car Nationals. A phenomenal event with World of Outlaws sprint cars, late models, big block modifieds, UMP modifieds. It is a huge event, and it's very cool to see the champion get recognized there.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a huge prize, and with the two drivers within a couple of points of each other, and obviously that's changed just a small bit after that heat race, but still going to be a race down to the wire when we go to the dirt track at Charlotte next week. So far, 2 heat races done. What are you thinking of this racetrack?
Well, right now, I mean, it's producing some pretty insane racing if you haven't noticed yet. The top seems to be the place to be in turns 3 and 4, but like I mentioned, 1 and 2, you can go just about anywhere, any combination. Enter it on the bottom, get to the top, enter on the top, get to the bottom, run the top. You can do anything you want in 1 and 2 right now, and it seems to work in some way, shape, or form. But that's 3 and 4. Here's 1 and 2. The track is just so weirdly shaped on this side of the place, and it makes it very interesting. You saw Timothy Smith there hit the infield wall actually entering turn 1 and actually cost him that spot to Bergeron. So got to be careful with that as we take a look at the lineup here for our third of 4 heat races tonight on the pole. Going to be the number 52 car. That's going to be James Edens. He's out of Santa Rosa, California for Swindell Speed Lab Esports. Outside of him, it's the number 13 car. That's Aiden Beerline for Team ABR Setup Shop. He's out of Woodford, Virginia. Row number 2 on the inside. Car number 25 is driven by Tyler Ducharme from Bomacene, Vermont for Slick SimSport. Outside of him, the number 49 car from Lemoore, California. It's the driver of Ryan Avila for Momentum SimSport. Row number 3 on the inside, the 174. That's Loic Bernier for Slick SimSport out of Victoriaville, Quebec, Canada. Outside of him, the number 7, that'll be Johnny Anderson. He's out of Newton, Iowa for M9 SimSport. Then you move back to row number 4, the number 16 car. That's Blake Giglio from M9 SimSport. He's out of Williamson, New York. And outside of him, the number 127 car, Blake Majulis, former late model series champion for CFM Esports. He's out of Jamestown, New York.
You've got a lot of the relegation storylines in this heat. Blake Majulis at the back of the field. You've got Aiden Beerline that's on the good side of the cut line right now. And then you got Tyler Ducharme also on the good side of the cut line. Tyler just has to have an okay night. Get yourself into the feature. Get yourself some points. You can breathe easy going into the dirt track at Charlotte next week. The big ones, obviously, the 2 on the cut line, one side or the other being Beerline and Majulis. Beerline in that 13 on the outside of row number 1, and Majulis in the back of this pack.
Yeah, a lot to watch for here in this one. Kind of like the last heat race, there's a lot to watch for as far as the championship goes. This one, it's all about relegation for this race. We saw Logan Rumsey. He was 17th in points, finished 3rd in his heat race after leading a couple laps, dropped to the 3rd spot at the end of that race, and now it's time for Aiden Beerline, Blake Majulis, and Tyler Ducharme to see what they can do here. Obviously, Majulis has a lot of work to do here. He's got to put the work boots on and get the hard hat and grab the lunchbox and go to work here because he's got to pass at least 4 cars to put himself into position in this feature event. We're going green this time by James Edens, 2-time winner this year, sitting 4th in the point standings. Will lead him to green alongside the 13 of Aiden Beerline. 10 laps. Here we go, heat race number 3.
James Edens on a green flag fly as we are underway in heat race number 3. Edens tries to drive away. They're almost 2 and 3 wide in behind. Bernier is going to be able to pick up a transfer position currently as he works to the inside of Ducharme.
1 car into the wall off of turn number 4. That's Johnny Anderson. He falls to the tail end of the field. Bernier trying to work to the inside of the number 25 of Tyler Ducharme. Not a good start to this one for Beerline. Started 2nd and has dropped back to the 4th spot. 3 wide for 4th now. Avila and Giglio right there trying to get by the number 13 car.
Yeah, he's going to have to find his footing and find his rhythm, will Aiden Beerline, or he's going to be kicked out of the top 4 here and have to go through one of those last chance showdowns. Avila in the 49 to the upside, trying to make the top side work. The 16 of Giglio goes to the inside. It's battle for 5th. They're trying to get up here for Beerline for 4th, and it looks like Avila's got to run.
Man, Avila rolling off that good momentum from last week at Knoxville. Came from the last chance showdown up into the top 5 at one point. I believe finished 6th in that race. He had a great run through the field, and now trying to do it again here in the heat race. Trying to find a way by Beerline. Turns it down the hill. Gets a huge run down the back straightaway, and he's got the spot as he slides in front of the 13 car.
Beerline may have got the wall into that last time by and now plays chase. And down to the inside of Avila goes Beerline. Beerline, little smile on his face, little chuckle by the looks of it there as he's having a blast trying to get by Avila here. Back to the inside.
Wow, close call off of turn number 4. Car in front of him hit the wall. The number 174 car of Loic Bernier. A close call there for him. And that might drag these 2 back into the fight for that 3rd spot. Next time by 8 down and 3 to go. Still plenty of time for Beerline and Avila to contend with the 174 of Loic Bernier. As he work off in turn number 2 down the back straightaway, it's James Edens up front, followed by Ducharme.
Little wiggle there by the 49 of Avila as he looks to the inside of the 174 of Loic Bernier. They go at it for position number 3. Beerline waiting for something to happen in behind them. Beerline trying to get a little bit closer, as is Giglio in the 16. This is all James Eden's up in front. Ducharme is pulled away by a little bit from this battle for position number 3 as we come down to the final lap of competition here in heat race number 3 for the World of Outlaws at Weedsport, and that is James Eden's up in front after 2 finishes outside the top 10 in feature competition the last 2 weeks. He returns to form and picks up a heat race victory. It'll be James Eden's, Tyler Ducharme, Ryan Avila, and Loic Bernier. There's a good run out of the 174 car. Beerline, Anderson, Giglio, Majulis to the last chance showdowns, and Chase, there's some names in those last chance showdowns already.
Yeah, we're going to add a couple more here after this final heat race that starts the number 23 car of Kenny Miller III on the pole, the driver out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania for M9 SimSport. Outside of him, the 00 car, that's going to be Kendall Tucker, the driver out of Mount Airy, North Carolina for Swindell Speed Lab Esports. Row 3, the 17, that is Eric Whitner out of Berwick, Pennsylvania for Momentum SimSport. And outside of him, third in the point standings, entering the ninth, the number 85 of Tyler Schell out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania for Elbows Up SimSport. Row number 3, it's the driver out of Tracy, California, the 74 of Adam Elby for Swindell Speed Lab Esports, and outside of him, the 39, Andrew Heffler from Watertown, Wisconsin for Momentum SimSport. Row number 4, the number 60 car, that's Sean English. He's out of Brandon, Florida. And your final starter for this one out of San Jose, California, it's Ross Kaiser. He's also driving for Momentum SimSport. So 2 guys to watch for in this one, in my opinion. Tyler Schell, third in points. You know, Bergeron is starting at the tail end of the field here tonight in the feature. Timothy Smith still has to put it in the show here tonight at Weedsport. And then Adam Elby, 18th in points. He has been a member of this series since 2018, the very first season of the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series here on iRacing. And I don't think he has ever not, met relegation status. So this could be a big deal here for Adam Elby if he cannot run inside the top 15 in points.
Yeah, and he is going to have to go in a hurry. He's going to need to pick up a heat race win here, I would think, and try to get the feature win to give him any shot, at realistic shot at least, to trying to make it into the top 15 after next week's round at the dirt track at Charlotte. You look at your field as this is the final heat race this evening, and then we will go to 2 last chance showdowns. There's the 85 on your screen of Tyler Schell, currently sitting third in the championship standings, and then the other driver you mentioned to the inside of the next row, the 74 of Adam Elby.
Yeah, Tyler Schell, the top 3 in the points, obviously we mentioned it a couple times, Bergeron, Smith, and Schell. Out of those 3, Schell actually has the best record here at the Weedsport Speedway. In his 2 starts, a 2nd and a 5th, so 2 top 5s for Tyler Schell. On the other hand, Alex Bergeron in 2 starts has never even ran inside the top 5, a 6th place in 2021 and a 9th in 2022. And then you look at Timothy Smith in his 1 start, didn't even make the show last year, 5th in the last chance showdown. So Schell definitely has the upper hand, it seems like, in the top 3 in points here at Weedsport.
Definitely something to watch going in, and if you want more information on this series, the schedule, information about the drivers that are competing here this evening, iRacing.com/WOOSC to get all that info. Kenny Miller, Kendall Tucker on the front row. This one is going to be an interesting heat race to see who A, makes the show, and B, who goes to a last chance showdown, because those 2 final qualifiers are starting to be stacked with some of those points drivers that need to have those good runs here this evening in order to set themselves up for the season finale. And this next time by, Chase, we're coming to green.
And you look at the front row here in this one. Kenny Miller, first time here in World Championship competition for the 23 car. Kendall Tucker, never been inside the top 10 in a World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series race here at Weedsport. Got a great qualifying effort tonight, though. He will start 2nd in this heat race as we go green off of turn number 4. Great start for your top 2. Oh, and then Tucker gets hit from behind by the number 17 of Whitner. He gets straightened back out by Tyler Schell, and somehow we stay going.
Yeah, keep your eye on Tyler Schell and see if he has any damage to that race car up there as he is 3 wide, or in behind the 3 wide battle. Oh, and a little more contact as Tucker and Elby came together. Tucker gets away with the position. They're fighting in behind for 3rd on back.
And a huge lead for Kenny Miller, already 1 second after 2 laps with the 23 car. He can coast from here, it seems like, to the heat race win, as the number 85 of Tyler Schell is looking to join Timothy Smith in the last chance showdown. If the checkered flag flew now, those 2 would actually be in the same last chance showdown, but obviously there's still about, 6 laps to go here for Schell to try and put something together.
Yeah, he needs to get something together here and get something together real quick, because the top four, the second, third, and fourth place battle on your screen as you ride with Eric Whitner, is starting to pull away from this fifth place battle with Tyler Schell leading the four of Kaiser and Whitner along for the ride. Up the hill goes Schell, trying to do something here to make it happen.
Yeah, Andrew Heffler to the inside of Adam Elby up the road there, racing for the third spot. He's actually going to have the advantage entering turn number 1. Elby runs the top. Schell closing in a little bit. He was a tenth faster than Heffler the last time by. 5 laps to go, and Schell looks like he's got his stuff figured out now as he's catching up to the 39 car down the front straightaway.
And halfway in this heat race, just over halfway in this heat race, he's got to get by Heffler first to try to at least get yourself into the feature event, and then worry about what you have to do from there on in. You ride on board with Adam Elby, currently sitting in position number 3, and you can see Kenny Miller. He's got a small up there, but he's way ahead of this field.
Yeah, 2.5 advantage for the driver to Morgantown, Pennsylvania. 2 laps to go this time by for Kenny Miller. Now here comes Schell trying to get by the 39 of Heffler, who battles with Elby, and they get very close entering turn 1. Schell almost hopped the right rear of the 39. They're coming to the white flag this time by, and this is the closest Schell's been in the last couple laps. And here he comes to the outside.
We saw that Hail Mary from Bergeron in the heat race earlier. Can Schell do something here to put himself in the show? Elby, Heffler, and Schell battling for transfer positions, and this one's going to be all Kenny Miller up in front, and Tyler Schell, I think, might have just missed it. Heffler got the position at the end of that one, but that one was close. Another nail-biter here at Weedsport down to the finish. Miller, Tucker, Elby, Heffler in. Schell, Whitner, English, Kaiser out. They've got one more chance to do it in a last chance showdown, and we've got them pretty well stacked. They're coming up next.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Modified DLC pack also features the Federated Auto Parts Raceway and I-55 and will be available for digital purchase on the PlayStation and Xbox stores this month.
The World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and by World of Outlaws Dirt Racing. Drive like an outlaw. Available now on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5.
Welcome back to Weedsport in round number 9 of the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series, powered by iRacing. 4 exciting heats. We've seen some last lap passes, we've seen some Hail Marys, and I don't think they're over yet, Chase, because we've got 2 last chance showdowns, the first one getting ready to grid.
Definitely not over yet. The 42 car Paul Bryan going to be on the pole of this one. Outside of him, the number 13, that is driven by Aiden Beerline. Row number 2, that's car number 20, driven by Aiden Forster. And outside of him, number 7 of Johnny Anderson. Row 3, the number 5 car, that's Braden Eiler. And outside of him, the number 16, Blake Giglio will start from 6th. That final row in this one, row number 4, the number 50 car, Clayton Davies. And the former late model series champion, the 127, Blake Majulis, will have to come from 8th only the top 2 will move on out of these 2 last chance showdowns, but they do get 2 extra laps to try and make their way up there. 12 laps of distance here in LCS number 1.
Obviously, I think the big one there is Blake Majula starting at the back of this field, having to make his way up and try to get a top 2 spot. Beerline, again, one of those relegation drivers battling it out to try to get into the top 15 or maintain, in Beerline's case, in the top 15. 2 last chance showdowns here, 12 laps each. Take the top 2. That'll put us at 20 cars for the feature event of 35 laps later on this evening. Stacked little heat. We mentioned the 2 of the top 3 in the championship points being Timothy Smith and Tyler Schell. Going to be in the next last chance showdown, but this one here pretty stacked as well. Beautiful looking number 50 car, Clayton Davies.
Absolutely, and this could be the nail in the coffin here for Blake Majulis as far as the relegation goes. If he does not make the transfer here, and Aiden Beerline does, I think he can kiss his hopes of being a World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series driver in 2024 goodbye. So a lot to watch for here for Majulis. He's got to get by 7 cars at least to get himself up there and keep that hope alive. So we'll see if he can do it. I'm not going to say, if Aiden Beerline transfers, he's obviously not going to be for sure locked in. We've seen Logan Rumsey's already in, Adam Elby's already in, so there's still a lot to watch for there. But Majulis, his relegation hopes are riding on this LCS right here.
He's 39 points back coming into the evening. 23 points is what 20th gets in a feature event. Obviously, if you are outside looking in, the only thing you rely on is your heat points. So it wouldn't be completely 100% mathematically done unless Beerline can get up and get a few spots in the feature. Then that would be the death nail in the coffin for Mr. Majulis. But we got 12 laps to try to figure out if he can come from the back of the field and if Beerline can lock himself in to the feature. Forster sitting in position number 3. Johnny Anderson had his moment in his heat race, going to start in 4th, and then Braden Eiler trying to get up there as well. Another quick car in car number 5. This is anybody's last chance showdown. It's led to green by Paul Bryan. Green flag flies and we're underway.
Let's see what happens here in this one. 12 laps. Bryan out to the early advantage, followed by the number 20 car, Aiden Forster. Those 2 would be in the feature if the checkered flag flew. Still 11 laps to go as the race for 3rd is 3 wide. Clayton Davies with a big move there to get by number 13 car, Beerline. So Beerline actually outside looking in by quite a few spots here. Not a good start, just like his heat race. Remember, Tim, and if you look back to that, he started on the front row of that thing and fell back quickly. Same story in this thing. Started 2nd, now he's back to 6th. He's challenged by, but just contact up the road, sends around Paul Bryan and Braden Eiler. Beerline gets in there, and guess who sneaks by? Blake Majulis is up to 3rd.
Nowhere to go for Aiden Beerline. Hello, little more contact as Majulis and Davies go at it for position number 2, and Giglio is there as well. We might not have any more cars left behind Forster if this continues up.
My goodness, wild stuff there on the opening 2 laps as the number 50 car, Clayton Davies, has the last transfer spot, but he's challenged on the inside. Oh, a little contact off of turn 2, but Majulis goes around. He's upside down along with Blake Giglio. Giglio's upside down, but Majulis facing the wrong way. And now the top 2 have a straightaway over the 13 of Beerline, who's now back into 3rd after all that contact and calamity. Davies from 7th to 2nd. There he is right there. Wow, wow, wow. We talked about it not all being over as far as the drama goes, and it continues on here in this one.
I guess the only question is, obviously Forster's out in front, and he's been out of most of everything going on back here, Chase. Beerline is about a 1.5 seconds or so from Davies sitting in position number 2. Does he have enough time and enough speed to get up here? Here's Braden Eiler. This is the battle for position number 5 and 4, I guess. Include Johnny Anderson up there in the 7A. They're trying to catch Beerline. That's Paul Bryan right in that as well. Paul Bryan was on the front row of this one, and through everything, he and Eiler make contact. Oh boy, it's not done.
And Bryan's going to hang on to it. He's been through the ringer in this one. As you take a look at the lap times here for this one, the last time by the line, it was a 14.003 for Davies, a 14.044 for Beerline. So Davies, the last 3 laps, has pulled away Beerline. The sand in the hourglass is running out here for him. 2 to go next time by, and he's got to make up over a 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, he's going to need to get up on the wheel and get up on the wheel real quick. Something's going to need to happen here at Clayton Davies to make Aiden Beerline a transferee into this round number 9 for the feature at Weedsport. White flag is out for Aiden Forster, and he's been the only one that's been pretty much clean and green through all of this. He'll pick up the checkered flag in this first last chance showdown. And behind, about 4 seconds behind, is Clayton Davies. Davies picks up position number 2. And this makes the relegation a little bit more complicated next week.
That blows it wide open, I think, right?
Yeah. It doesn't blow it. Well, I guess we'll see what happens in this feature.
Yeah, that will definitely depend on that. I mean, you got LB in, you got Rumsey in, so wow, that's crazy.
And Majula's out. The 127 and 7th. Paul Bryan, Blake Giglio back here, Braden Eiler, Johnny Anderson also not making the show. They're done for round number 9. So if that was the relegation last chance showdown, as we're going to take a look at the starting grid for last chance showdown number 2. If the last one was relegation, Chase, this one is the championship picture.
Yeah, this one it has got a lot riding on it for sure. Tanner Pettit on the pole in car number 24. Outside of him, the 85 of Tyler Schell, 3rd in points. Row number 2 on the inside, 3rd starter, 2nd in points, 86 Timothy Smith, and outside of him, 17 Eric Whitner. Row 3, the 9 of Tanner Miller, and the 60 of Sean English. And the final 2 starters for this one should be the 18 of Semmelman and the number 4 car of Ross Kaiser. Kaiser, it does not look like he's going to be able to make the call here, so we'll have 7 cars, 12 laps. And let's take a look at what happened in this last LCS here, Tim.
What didn't happen in this last LCS? This was wild. This is, I think, the first incident. I think we're riding on board with Paul Bryan here.
He gets hit from behind by Eiler, just kind of misjudged it there. Beerline gets into it, and then he gets fired back off by Johnny Anderson. It really doesn't lose too much ground there for Beerline. If he didn't get hit by Anderson, he would have been way farther behind, but it didn't matter in the end, as he did not make the transfer. So now our attention, our focus is on this last chance qualifier. If Timothy Smith cannot make it into tonight's show, man, I don't think it'd be mathematically over, but his hopes and dreams of being the 2023 World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series champion would look pretty gloomy, I'd say.
The odds would be pretty long if he doesn't make the show here this evening. Taking a look at the racetrack as well, Chase. Looks like they are going to do a complete rework as, we're going to take one more look at the beer line. I believe this is what happened to Majulis up in front of him.
Yeah, Majulis is racing with Davies. Got into the left rear tire there, coming off of 2, and collected one other car. I can't remember who that was. I believe it was, let me check here. It was Blake Giglio was the other car that got involved there. So, man, a lot happened there, and I don't think we'll see the dramatics of that last one spill over to this one, especially with what's riding on the line here. But, man, this is a tough one for Timothy Smith. We talked about it earlier. He's only ran here once in World Championship competition, did not make the show. 5th in a last chance showdown in 2022. He's got to get by one of the 2 guys in front of him, Tyler Schell, who's got 2 top 5s here, and then Tanner Pettit, who's never been here in World Championship competition, but he's been fast the last couple weeks.
Before we go green, I was trying to work in the what the track looked like. You can see it here now, Chase. It looks like they are going to do a complete rework after this last chance showdown, and they'll have all 3 minutes to run it in. So our track is going to change after this, and the track's been phenomenal so far.
Yeah, and I think that 3 minutes of warm-up is going to be a really good move by everybody. You see how shiny it is. That's when we know it's slick right there. That's what you call slick, when you see it shining like that, and you see that kind of blacker material there on the track. You see it right there where the 24 Pettit's running at right now. That's where you don't want to be unless your car is really set up nicely. As we go green, and Smith already looking to the inside of Schell for the 2nd spot, and this is going to be a battle all the way through the end of this one, I think.
They are very aggressive here in the opening lap. Miller looked to the inside of Whitner. In front of them, it's Smith and Schell going at it for the final transfer position. And one around, it's Whitner at the back of the field. And it looks like Schell gets that run off the outside. He'll take 2nd.
And you got to know the 86 of Timothy Smith is nervous right now. The 24 Pettit looks strong up front. 3-car length advantage over the number 85 of Tyler Schell. The last 2 times by, the left front tire of Timothy Smith has kissed the infield wall in turn number 1. If he can avoid doing that, he'd be able to circle the bottom a little bit better. We'll see if he does it this time. He does not. He does not hit the bottom there, and he runs right up to the back bumper of Tyler Schell.
So if he can continue to do that, he may be in the feature event. But you have to believe Tanner Pettit trying to pull away from this one. battle for position number 2. I think Timothy Smith would have hoped that it was a battle for the lead, and both of them were in, but that's not the case.
No, this is getting interesting here, but they both look to be maybe catching the 24 of Pettit here. Smith runs the top, Shell slides right in front of him. Now Smith goes to the top. Oh, I thought he was going to hit the wall right there. Entering turn 1, gets a big turn down the hill, but that was a close call for Smith, and time is running out halfway home this time by.
We have seen these heats and the last chance showdowns get wild. Oh, there it is in the wall again. The 86 to the inside wall of Timothy Smith, and this might be the championship for Timothy Smith if he can't get up here and battle in this one, as he's falling back now from Tyler Shell.
Yeah, this track here, Weedsport, is going to be the thorn in his side throughout his career, man. We've seen it, talked about earlier, 5th in the B main last year, and now here in this one, it does not look good for him. He's got to put together 4 solid laps here, more than solid. They got to be perfect laps here to catch up to Tyler Shell, as Tanner Pettit, he has been picture perfect throughout this entire thing, has made no mistakes, and he is pulling away with the race lead. It is going to come down to the 85 and the 86 here with 3 laps to go.
And let's not understate, Tanner Pettit has ran an incredible last chance showdown. Up in front, pulling away by almost a second from this battle for position number 2 as you ride on board with Tyler Shell looking back with 2 laps to go. Timothy Smith is getting bigger. He's trying to get there, and he might have tried a little too hard there.
Yeah, it hit the wall, and he's going to lose wholesale ground down the back straightaway. White flag is out, and Timothy Smith, man, oh man, what a season it has been. Has led the most laps out of anybody, and it looks like it is going to come to an end here tonight. They go down the backstretch for the final time. Tanner Pettit and Tyler Shell will grab the last 2 tickets to tonight's feature event.
What a heartbreak for Timothy Smith. At the start of this season, as you see that right there from Mr. Smith, at the start of the season, it was, when is he going to win a race because he's so close? And now it's the opposite of making a feature, as Pettit and Shell are going to transfer in. Smith, Semmelman, Miller, English, Whitner outside looking in, and unless something happens to Alex Bergeron next week, or maybe in this feature here this evening, that may be the championship for Alex Bergeron. We'll paint that picture, though, and we'll talk about the feature coming up a little bit later on, because the feature coming up next after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts and by World of Outlaws Dirt Racing. Drive like an outlaw. Available now on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing now available. All the information at worldofoutlawsgame.com for your Xbox or PlayStation console on your screen, and all kinds of different things to do with the World of Outlaws Dirt Racing career mode online. Whatever series you want to race, whatever racetrack you want to race, over 40 racetracks are part of this deal, Chase. You're going to be on here for hours going through all the content and everything that you can do with the World of Outlaws Dirt Racing.
Yeah, one of the tracks on there is this track we're racing at tonight, Weedsport Speedway. And we've talked about it before, but man, you got all of the real-life drivers that are in the sim for the World of Outlaws late models, World of Outlaws sprint cars, even the Super Dirt Car Series big block modifieds, the UMP modifieds you're seeing on your screen right there. Got a bunch of the real-world drivers in there as well, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about it. There's Peter Britton. You saw him right there in the 21 car and the big blocks, and I just think it's cool you get to race against the guys that you watch on TV all the time. So really, really fun game, and I think so far I've seen a lot of the raving reviews. People really seem to enjoy it, so that's awesome to see as we get ready for tonight's feature event here from Weedsport 35 times around the port here in Weedsport, New York for round number 9, the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series. Here is tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, driver looking for his first career win with the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series out of Findlay, Ohio, the 22 of Bryce Lucius. Row number 1 to the outside, the 2022 Weedsport winner here, the 07 of Hayden Cardwell. Row 2, the 52 car out of Santa Rosa, California, it's James Edens, and outside of him, the number 23 car out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania, Kenny Miller. Row 3 out of Chesney, South Carolina, the 33 car Evan C., and outside of him, the 48 Dylan Yeager out of Hamilton Township, New Jersey. Row 4, 7 starter, 25 Tyler Ducharme out of Beaubassin, Vermont, and outside of him, the 00 car Kendall Tucker out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Row 5, 9th starter, the number 41, Logan Rumsey out of Manchester, Pennsylvania, and outside of him, number 14, J.D. Brown out of Bakersfield, California. Row number 6, the 49 of Ryan Avila out of Lemoore, California, and the 74, Adam Elby out of Tracy, California. Row 7, the number 1 car, Mason Hannigan out of Pittsburgh, Indiana, and outside of him, number 12 car, Alex Bergeron, 3-time series champion out of Drummondville, Quebec, Canada. Row 8, the 174, that is Loic Bernier out of Victoriaville, Quebec, Canada. And outside of him, the number 39 car, that is going to be Andrew Heffler out of Watertown, Wisconsin. Behind those guys, your last chance showdown transfers, the number 20 car, that is Aiden Forster out of Cass City, Michigan. 24 car, Tanner Pettit out of Chico, California. The 50 of Clayton Davies out of Cessnock, New South Wales, Australia. And the number 85, Tyler Schell. He's out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania. So 20 cars, 35 times around, 300 to win, 200 for second, and $100 for third. And depending on how Bergeron runs in this one, could be all his championship to win next week at Charlotte. There is a good look at the racetrack. They did do a complete rework, and they did get 3 minutes of hot laps to kind of burn it in a little bit here as we take a look at the track map here. Weedsport Speedway, like I mentioned, they're in Weedsport, New York. And as you've seen so far here tonight, some interesting lines being used, especially on the top of your screen right now. Turns 1 and 2, back straightaway, always turning around that place here at this 3/8 mile oval. Phenomenal facility. Love coming to Weedsport every year with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. It is one of my favorite tracks on the schedule. And so far tonight, Tim, it has put on a really good show for the fans, and I'm sure the driver's been enjoying it as well.
As the field begins to roll, we've seen a lot of the sense of urgency this evening as well. We've seen a lot of the I've got to go mentality early. Now with 35 laps, we'll see if that happens. We do have caution flags. Caution laps do not count. Just looking at this, I see Hannigan, I see Forster, Avila, Cardwell, Ducharme in this one. You also see Rumsey, Elby, and Pettit, and you're asking why those names. That is in and around one side or the other of the cut line for this series for next year. And the two drivers that are immediately on that cut line, Beerline and Majulis, are on the outside looking in. So this is going to change the water on the beans a little bit when it comes to that final. Those final transfer positions, will decide them next week, but this might be a very close deciding factor on who has an opportunity to lock in after next week at the dirt track at Charlotte. This is round number 9 for the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series, powered by iRacing at Weedsport Speedway. Bryce Lucius and Hayden Cardwell on the front row, and Lucius is gone. Green flag flies, we're underway.
Lucius looking for his first win with the series. We'll see if he can do it here tonight at Weedsport. He's got the defending winner, though, right behind him. Hayden Cardwell as they work down the backstretch into turn 3 for the first time. James Edens going to look up the inside of the number 9 car, or the number 07, I should say, of Cardwell. He runs in the 3rd spot. Kenny Miller 4th, and in 5th at the moment, the 48 car of Dylan Yeager.
Miller in the wall to the outside. C gets into him again, and gets into him one more time. Cannot get off him, and we're going to stack him up. Yellow flag will fly for the first time this evening, and it started with Kenny Miller just barely grazing the wall, and then Evan C had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Kenny Miller, that is tough to see there, was having a great run just outside of the top 5. Actually was in the 5th position when that happened, but like you mentioned, hit the wall in the back straightaway, checked up everybody behind him. They probably weren't expecting him to hit the wall in the straightaway, but that's what I talk about this place, man. You're always turning down the straightaway. You cannot get lazy. You cannot get lazy on the backstretch here. You've always got to turn that wheel a little bit, or this, what you're about to see on the CarQuest replay, is going to happen to you, Tim.
You saw it live. We'll show you one more time, and that's where Kenny Miller gets into the wall in the middle of the back straightaway, right there, and then 1. Ducharme gets into C, sends him back into Kenny Miller, and Tucker and Avila and a few others involved in that one. Shell also in this one, and he is your 3rd place point man coming in, and okay, gets around and
He'll sneak by.
Yeah, it's good heads up driving by the 85 of Shell.
Yeah, and a lot of other guys able to make it through there as well. LB, Bergeron able to make it through as well without any damage to their cars. So good to see that as we are under yellow here on lap number 3. 33 to go. There is your race leader, the driver out of Findlay, Ohio. Bryce Lucius runs a sprint car in the Ohio area, Fremont Speedway, Attica Raceway Park, just to name a couple of the tracks that he races at in real life in a sprint car. And now looking to join Kenny Miller as a first-time winner with the series here in 2023, as well as Timothy Smith, I should mention, as well. So see if Lucius can hang on. He looked good the first 3 laps, but you got to put it all together for 35. But with the likes of Hayden Cardwell behind you, it's going to be tough. He'll be breathing down his neck the entire way here, Tim, as the pace truck is looking to pull off this time by.
1 top 10 finish and over 100 points off the cut line for Bryce Lucius coming in. So needs something to finish off this season on a good note, and so far so good through the first few laps of this one. Green flag flies. We're back underway, and Cardwell nearly got Lucius.
Yeah, he about turned him around right there off of turn number 2. Lucius able to hang on to the race car. Cardwell goes to the top. Edens goes to the inside. Side by side for a second down the front straightaway. Cardwell's got the spot. Gets in him again. Cardwell's into the wall. Backs in the fence. Lucius goes around as well. The caution's out on lap number 5.
Man, oh man, the leader's getting into it on this one, and I believe Lucius got hit by Dylan Yeager, I believe, in the 48, and there's another guy that had a good run going. We'll see what kind of damage the 48 of Yeager has, but the 22 of Lucius, such a good run early as he will head to pit road. Looks like Forster's there as well, and the 41 of Rumsey.
And that's the consequences of this racetrack, Tim. I mean, there's just so many different lines to run in 1 and 2. You saw the 22 of Lucius tried to go and slow roll the bottom, but Cardwell decided to run the slider line and just got into the tail tank of him. Here's the 48 of Yeager. You'll see up the road here, the 07 and the 22 get together. Bam, right there, the 48 of Yeager, boom. Kapows right into the left rear of Lucius. I'm surprised that the 48 is going to keep going. There's probably some damage to his car, but here is, I believe this is Kendall Tucker right here. Actually, this is Adam Elby, and he's going to make it by, and Elby's having a good run here tonight, Tim. We talked about it earlier, kind of a long shot for that relegation line, and Elby, after missing the last 2 main events, is now inside the top 10.
Gonna need, I think, a little bit more, and then a little bit more next week at Dirt Track at Charlotte, but he controls his own destiny right now. The 2 in front of him in the championship standings aren't in this feature.
That is true, but one of them that is in front of him is right in front of him, number 25 of Tyler Ducharme, a couple spots ahead in that 4th spot. But man, I'll tell you what, Kenny Miller caught a good break in that first caution. He was able to keep his car, under power, was able to keep it going after that crash, and is in the 2nd spot. Mind you, maybe have some damage on that car after that wreck with Evan C., but Kenny Miller still in 2nd. Dylan Yeager is in 3rd. 4th is Ducharme, and 5th is J.D. Brown. So a couple of guys we don't normally see up here inside the top 5 on a regular basis having a good run after all these wrecks. We go back to green with 30 to go.
Let's see who will get the advantage on this one. James Eaton's up in front, the 23 of Miller in second, and Dylan Yeager still up here in third. The last couple of cautions might have had a little bit of a hiccup in a battle for P2 here.
And I'll tell you what, Yeager, he's one of the best guys when it comes to rolling the bottom of the racetrack. We saw him do it earlier this season at the I-55 Raceway in Peebly, Missouri. Ran it up to a podium. He is doing it again here tonight. Oh, Bergeron's in the wall and upside down. He's out of the park. Alex Bergeron is out of the ballpark in turn 3. And wow. That is going to be the end of the night, I believe, for Alex Bergeron. His car went over the wall in turn 3, and that's the thing here about Weedsport. There's no catch fence, and that is going to change things dramatically here. There's guys on pit road right now, Tim, that are making repairs and going to come back out, I believe. They are a couple laps down, but Bergeron, man, that's going to be weird to see. He shuffles out in this running order. Tyler Schell has a huge opportunity here, Tim.
Absolutely he does, to try to get everything that he can. And Bergeron out of the park and onto pit road. There is Kendall Tucker. We saw him in the 12 kind of get that little side contact there. And keep your eye on the 85 of Schell, because he's barely going to... Look at this. Wow. Schell to the inside. He might have got a little bit of right rear as Bergeron went out of the park. But Tyler Schell came that close from joining Bergeron over the wall.
And right here, this is going to be a good angle of it. Schell barely misses him as you see the 12 car. Like our friend Dan Laycock used to say, he is headed to Grandma's house outside of turn number 3. So Bergeron, we'll see if he can return to the Speedway right now, is on the pit lane along with Ryan Avila, Evan C., Hayden Cardwell, and Bryce Lucius. So 5 guys in the pits right now. If it finished the way it is right now, I think Bergeron would run 16th. Unless he can come back out and pass a couple of cars. But I think he's going to be a lap down. We just went back to green.
Yeah, there he is on the screen as we are back underway. 16's 31 points, by the way, so if you're keeping score at home. Up in front, James Edens. There's a guy that, if he didn't have a couple of weeks, as you look at Adam Elby here trying to get everything that he can on the transfer side of things, James Edens, if he didn't have the last 2 weeks, we'd be talking about him in the championship chase.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, James Edens, he had 2 bad runs, 13th and 11th the last 2 weeks, and kind of took himself out of this championship after winning 2 races this year. So Edens looking for the hat trick on the season here, be the only guy to win 3 races. So far this year, we've had 3 guys win 2, Edens, Cardwell, and Bergeron, but Edens still looking to break that tie as he pulls away from the 48 of Dylan Yeager.
And has been the class of the field so far, though Dylan Yeager did a great job there trying to catch up. He is trying to get into the tire tracks. And who is that on the... How about Tyler Ducharme in the 25?
Yeah, Ducharme looks strong right now. He's right there with that second place battle of Yeager. Also the 23 of Miller is there. And Ducharme, whoa, close call there as he cut across the nose of Kenny Miller. Ducharme's had some good runs here in the past. A 3rd place run in 2021 at Weedsport. So Ducharme definitely knows the fast way around Weedsport.
Ducharme trying to solidify himself in the top 15, doing a great job here this evening trying to do so. Kenny Miller in the 23, kind of had an up and down night in the wall, bouncing off the wall, and right now in a top 5 effort as he goes to the inside of Ducharme to try to pick up position number 4 or 3.
Well, Tyler Schell, update on him. He's up to the 8th position, got by Tanner Pettit the last time by. So, wow, the race for 3rd is getting dicey here. J.D. Brown, Tyler Ducharme, Kenny Miller, these guys are slicing it up down the back straightaway. Ducharme still's got it. Well, how about the race for the lead, though? That 48 of Yeager just about ran to the back of James Edens off of turn 4 right there as these guys continue to go at it.
Yeah, he got close, and Edens been able to back and establish the lead one more time, but we saw that in the heat race and a couple of these last chance showdowns where it almost looks like it's a foregone conclusion, then all of a sudden the second place driver or the driver chasing finds a second win.
Man, the 48 of Yeager has got the bottom of the track rolling right. This is where he gains his ground right there, Tim. Off of turn number 4 and off of turn number 2. He keeps the left rear down in the moisture, unlike Edens, who slides it up into the slick in the middle of the corner. Watch this right here. Yeager able to really diamond it off the exit and gets a good run on Edens down the front straightaway.
Yeager playing chase, trying to get by Edens, and Kenny Miller's here as well. They're going to come up in some lap traffic. Oh, boy.
And Kenny Miller to the outside is going to definitely be a factor in this one. I think your race leader is really falling off the pace of James Edens. The top 4 are now under a blanket as they work down the back straightaway. J.D. Brown is very much a factor in this one as well in the 14 car. Side by side for the lead off of turn number 4. Edens leads lap number 21. 14 to go. Close call for second as Miller looks to the outside of Yeager.
It looks like the train is starting to form behind James Edens as Miller gets a little wide and enter J.D. Brown into the mix. Brown to the upside, trying to make it happen as Dylan Yeager continues to get to that inside line, and Kenny Miller, James Edens up the hill. We're almost side by side for the lead.
Good stuff here. Yeager up alongside. He's going to take the lead for a moment. Edens back around and with momentum down the front straightaway. He'll lead lap number 23, but Yeager definitely pestering him on the inside of the racetrack. Brown and Miller, just as quickly as they were in this battle, they are now out of it. Side by side off of turn number 4 with almost 10 laps to go. Great stuff at the front of the field of Weedsport.
Yeager kind of walked the dog up the hill a little bit that last time by at a turn number 4. James Edens continues to be rock steady on the outside, wheel to wheel through 3 and 4. As they come by this time, the 14 of J.D. Brown trying to reel them in. The 52 of Edens doing a great job on the outside. Dylan Yeager doing what he has to do on the inside and gets the lead down the back.
Yeager's got the race lead, less than 10 laps to go, but careful down there. You do not want to hit the inside wall. We've seen that catch a couple guys here tonight, including Timothy Smith, and you'll see the left front of Yeager's car is extremely close to disaster, especially off the 4th corner. He's trying to pull away from Edens, that time by a 13.7 for Yeager, 13.8 for Edens.
And James Edens beginning to see Dylan Yeager drive off into the sunset at Weedsport. The top view, James Edens. You got Edens and Yeager on the bottom as they both wheel their race cars to at least try to get on the podium for this one, but Dylan Yeager driving away here.
Dylan Yeager looking to join an elite list of drivers who've won with both the World of Outlaws Butt Kicker Late Model Series and the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series. Only maybe 5 have been able to say that they can do that. As here's the race back here for the 5th spot. Tanner Pettit is on the move from 18th up to 5th for the number 24 cars. He barely sneaks between Matt Elby and the wall down the front straightaway.
Tanner Pettit is on the move after that last chance showdown and trying to get up here, but he may need a yellow flag to get there. You saw Kenny Miller off that shot as well, right there on your screen, kind of falling out of the top 5 in the late laps of this one, but a battle in front of him. Oh boy, there goes Shell.
Shell now up into the 7th spot. He needs to get every point that he can get right here with the misfortune of Bergeron and the lack of Timothy Smith in this feature. Shell, if he can get by the 74 of Elby, he could maybe make it close in the final race at Charlotte next week. Now Shell, he knows that. He is digging hard right now to catch up to Elby and Pettit as they work down the front straightaway 3 laps ago.
And a footnote, Bergeron right now running 14th, 1 lap down. He is the only driver 1 lap down. Everybody else is either out of this race or on the lead lap. 2 laps and coming down to the white flag in this one. This is going to be a battle at the end. Look at Pettit to the outside of that 74 of Elby. They are battling hard for position number 5 at the end of this one. White flag has waved for your leader, and look at the smile on his face. Dylan Yeager knows what's coming. Down the back straightaway for the final time, pulled away, and yes, sir, you are a winner in the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series, powered by iRacing. What a show.
Great stuff from Dylan Yeager. You love to see the emotion out of him. So you got the guitars back there. Man, it sucks we're not going to have interviews tonight. We could have had him maybe play us a little song for us, but Yeager, a winner now with the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series. One of just maybe 5 or 6 that have done it with both the sprint cars and the late models. James Edens 2nd, Tyler Ducharme 3rd, J.D. Brown and Tanner Pettit the top 5 from 18th to 5th for Pettit.
What a run in that one. LB 6th, Tyler Shell in 7th, Kenny Miller in 8th, Mason Hannigan in 9th, and Clayton Davies going to complete your top 10. Loic Bernier, there's a guy that's had an up and down season. Good to see him make a feature finish in 11th, Aiden Forster, Andrew Heffler, and there's Alex Bergeron, 1 lap down in 14th place. Logan Rumsey, 15th, Kendall Tucker, 16th. Man, Bryce Lucius in 17th after being on the pole after winning his heat race. 17th, Hayden Cardwell, 18th, Ryan Avila, 19th, and Evan C. in 20th, and those 4 at the bottom, and even Kendall Tucker and Logan Rumsey having issues in those first couple of caution flags, putting them behind the 8 ball very early in this one.
Yeah, definitely a lot of incidents early in this one. I mean, you see right there, 31 laps down, 32 laps down for a couple of these guys, all caught up in one big wreck there. Is high above the Weedsport Speedway, which just put on a really, really good show there between Edens and Yeager. And in the end, Yeager pulls it out to a 1 second advantage to take the win from the 6th position. How about this? Multiple drivers coming from the second half of the field into the top 10. Clayton Davies, best run of the year for him, 19th to 10th for Clayton Davies tonight. And now we're actually going to talk to our race winner here tonight, Dylan Yeager, the driver out of Hamilton Township, New Jersey. Dylan, you got the guitars in the background. You are a winner with this series, and you can say that you've won with both of the top series in dirt sim racing. How awesome is that?
It's badass. Never thought that I was going to win one of these races. I don't even know if I'm going to run the series next year. I'm just so bad in points that I don't even know if I'm going to make top 15. But I love this racetrack. Ran great here last year. I think I had a top 5 here last year, and I stuck to my game plan. I knew I was going to be on the bottom the whole feature. Just stuck with it, and it worked out. And we got a dub in this series. It's so cool. It's so cool.
We can confirm you were 5th last year and now a win here this year. But man, oh man, it seems like I've talked about it a couple times with you this year that you are so good at running the bottom side of this race or of the racetrack anywhere we go. We saw it at I-55 earlier this season where you rolled the bottom there to a podium, and now again here tonight. What is it about the bottom, man? You're a catfish.
It's just practice, man. I've practiced on the bottom so much. Like I practice running laps on the bottom in the slick more than I do on the top. So it just comes naturally to me. I love this racetrack too. You know, the shape of it. It's so unique, and you have to have so much driving ability to get around here and run the bottom well. So I mean, it's just practice, you know. It's just me being committed to running the bottom. Like my setup was full blown bottom setup. If it was off the bottom, I would have been garbage. So it was just committing to it and making it work, you know.
I wish we had more time for you to grab the guitar and play us a song or something, but I'm not sure if that's in the cards tonight. But Dylan, congratulations. We will see you next week at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I gotta give shout outs to people here. Gotta thank everybody at Majula C Speed Shop and CMCFM for keeping hope in me after how bad this season's gone so far for us. You know, it's our first win of the season as a team, so I'm just glad we could get one. And gotta thank everybody, all my sponsors, JDM Designs, NLRA, Toters Isle of Frenchies, ShopFergie22.com. You know, everybody's that's helped this season. You know, it's been a huge help, especially for how bad this has been going. And hopefully we can ride the momentum into Charlotte and maybe pick up another one. I mean, hell, who knows?
Who doesn't? I think you won there in the late model, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. Well, he knows how to get the job done at Charlotte. That is Dylan Yeager, tonight's winner here at the Weedsport Speedway. Well, Tim, great stuff here tonight. So much drama. I feel like there was drama every heat race, every last chance showdown, and here is what we are looking at heading into the final race of the year. Tyler Schell, 23 behind Bergeron. That is definitely an amount that can be achieved in the final race, but look at that relegation after everything that happened tonight. Now there is at least, 4 guys there, Beerline, LB, Pettit, and Rumsey, all probably within striking distance.
And you look, it was 39 points coming in between Beerline and Majulis. Dylan Yeager's only 33 points back. If he pulls out what he did this week and has another stumble, it could end up being the 48 being in the top 15 in points. This is going to be a battle down to the end, not only up top with Bergeron, Schell, and Smith, but also from Beerline on back there. You've got some drivers that are going to be up on the wheel. If I'm Ryan Avila and those guys on up, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. 75 points is what he needed.
Yeah, things are going to be fun to pay attention to next week, especially for that relegation line. But like we said, Tyler Schell, 23 behind. I don't know what the math is on that. But, man, if he can put together a good qualifying effort, win his heat race, and then maybe get a little bit of luck, he might be standing in Dirt Car Nationals victory lane next, couple weeks from now as the World of Outlaws CarQuest Auto Parts Sprint Car Series champion. We will find out next week, next Monday, January 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern, right there, the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. All dirt roads lead to Charlotte, and it is going to be a fun one. This place always puts on good racing with this series.
And if it's anything like it was this evening at Weedsport, expect the unexpected next week. The last couple of rounds have had a couple of drivers kind of stumble to create this championship that we have, and also the relegation for the top 15 to try to lock into this series for 2023 and 24. the next time we run the CarQuest Auto Parts World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series powered by iRacing. That was an exciting round number 9. Congratulations to Dylan Yeager, your winner. We've got a battle here next week. Join us next Monday night. On behalf of our entire iRacing production crew, Chase Rodman, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you next week from the dirt track at Charlotte. Until then, keep the hammer down and we'll see you at the track.